rebirthing into wholeness, reclaiming, remembering. And that was the work that I've been doing, since the 90s. Um, why am I here? Why do I love the Global Business Plaza? The Global Business Plaza, if I never knew it before, I know it now. Someone had shared with me, like, when you see a lifeline, right, you better grab it, you better hold on to it. And I took a little pause, and Peggy came and got me. And so, and brought me back in and asked me to spotlight, and I was like, no, I'm gonna pause, no, I think I'm gonna sit this one out. And then I felt that pull, like, no, I'm not gonna sit this out. And I turned around and said, okay, I'm in. And she was like, was so sad, and I was gonna come and, you know bully you. And I think, not that I think, but I know, because I've lived it, that this space is a lifeline for us. It's a lifeline for our businesses. It's a lifeline for us as, eclectics and visionaries and weirdos, right? And I use that with so much love. Um, a lot of us are empaths and, um, innovators, and we don't like the noise of social media. And so the Global Business Plaza has given me this space to come and really see myself, to mirror back to me that I have a tribe. I have people who are aligned with me, and I am aligned with them. And some of the conversations that I've had, I've like, we can talk for hours and hours and hours. And that's why I love the Global Business Plaza. That's why I'm here. Um, and why you should come to my room. You should come to my room so we can connect if we have not connected. And you can tour the Mechaverse and see if the work that I do inspires you, or transforms you, or heals you, or expands you. So, thank you.
Thank you. Um, I hope that you guys see how many amazing people are in the Global Business Plaza. Um, if you've been coming to the expo for the whole time, this is our 7th expo. You saw the energy shift the last couple of expos. You've seen this expo mature. And that's because I let go of the expo and I gave it to the Global Business Plaza. And they have turned it into this beautiful, beautiful thing with so much value. It's always been nice, but there's so, like, the keynote speakers, the panels, just all the sharing, look at how pretty it is. I didn't tell people they had to bring on, like, I didn't tell people, like, hey, up your thumbnail game. They just did it because they're like, hey, I'm going to be a part of this thing, and it's big and it feels good. And all these little gold circles, they're all the Global Business Plaza members that are part of the expo. And we have other people that are in the Global Business Plaza. They're like, you know what? Well, I'm not going to be in the expo this time. I'm working. I'm making money. I got all these things. I can't do this thing right now. But I just want you to know what an amazing community that we have. And if you have questions, if you think like, hey, I want to know more about it, check out our YouTube channel. It is YouTube at Global Business Plaza. Super simple. Go to room 101, check it out, or just join. For the first year, I offered a founder's price because, the theory isn't the value, the people are the value. And so it's hard to start something from nothing. And these are the people that came in and said, hey, this sounds like something I want to be a part of. And so I offered this discount. I mean, the value that you get, the amount of things that we do when I tell you we got stuff going on. um, um, but that's ending September 13th, and we're going for full price. So if you want to be some of the last founders and get that $67 a month locked in forever and ever and ever, your price will never, ever, ever go up. That's what you'll always pay, no matter how much the other people are paying, no matter how many extra benefits we add. You're the founders, you're the core. And if you go there and put in, I'm typing and talking, not ever a good mix for me. In the promo, put in Expo Day, and that's going to take $100 off of the setup fee. I wasn't going to do that. If you go into my room, it's $50 off. This right here, right now, is where you can get that promo code, Expo Day. So yesterday, there was a big conversation, and somebody was like, "Hey, your setup fee is my holdup," and I was like, "Well, let's knock some of that off then." Like, there should be nothing between you and having a business that's thriving, having that support, the feedback, all of the things. Anyway, that is what I wanted to share with you. I wanted to share what an amazing group of people helped put this expo on. Their energy, their brilliance, I can't thank them enough. Every single person with a gold arrow, you should go in and just give them a virtual hug, because they deserve it. Honestly, they deserve it. So I want the marketing panel to come up. I want the marketing panel to come up. We have Jamie Rich, we have Gary, we have Victoria, and we have Aisla. She is coming. She's coming. I know she is. I know for a fact.
I got Daily on this one.
And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start my recording, because that is my job. That has been my job. I've recorded more of the expo because we're never in here this much. So I have recorded more of the expo this time, but that's okay. This is brilliant. Okay. All right. Who's having fun? Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, no, Peggy.
Yes.
Daly's on this one.
Get off the platform, honey. Get off.
Daly, come take my place.
Oh, I'm sorry, Daly.
Yeah.
I don't know why I said Aisla. Thank God she's not on here.
I know, right?
Aisla, are you moderating this one?
I was moderating this one.
Oh, well, let me also
moderate,
guys.
He was the one who needed to move.
You know how I feel about you, Peggy. I'm never going to kick you off your own stage.
That's totally not true. That is the most opposite. Anyway, carry on, party on, guys. I'll be quiet.
Well, we love your participation. I know I can speak for everyone when I say that. So this is our third, and we're 75% through panels today when this is done, but not through joy. That's for sure. There's a lot of things happening. And our big question for this one is, or the frame, I guess, is connection is the marketing strategy. And before we dive into that, if each of you, if you haven't seen this before, if you're new to the room, I'm asking everyone to give a short intro of who they are. And you're all, I think, very multi-talented and focused, but if you can focus on saying who you are, and then also why this topic specifically, connection as the marketing strategy, is important to you, I would be super grateful. And all right, Daly. Oh, wait, can we hear you? I can't hear you. Is that me? Can other people hear Daly?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, great. Hi, I'm Daly. I run Healing Heart Reiki. So I'm actually an energy healer, and I help people with actually anything going on in their lives. And I've been doing that in my business for about the last 15 years. But marketing is actually really important to me, because without just the experience of developing in marketing, I probably would not still be here. The average energy healer lasts 2 years in business and is gone. And yet my business, I have helped hundreds of different students actually start their own healing practices. And I also work with small businesses, boutiques, coaches, therapists, telemarketing, not telemarketing, telemetry, all kinds of things. Anyway, I help them develop their business, especially for local marketing and branding. I got my degree in art history. I actually was a costume designer, a dancer for a few years. And then a lot of things kind of that went more towards the marketing direction. Like I was an assistant for one of the head of global marketing in the W Hotels boutique line before they got bought out. And I've also worked in art galleries and really helped with the branding and the positioning of the galleries for 5 galleries across the United States. So yeah, it's a lot of fun. I love being here. We need this as business owners. We need to have good relationships with this topic.
It's really important. Thank you. How about Jamie?
Well, hey, everybody. My name is Jamie Rich. I run a consultancy called Rich Relations. And in addition to being a huge fan of all of the people on the panel today, one of the things that my career has been based in producing events. People used to ask me what it is that I do for a living, and I would say I help put butts in seats. And I have been producing events. I think people always joke, my very first event was like the parting of the Red Sea. But I've been doing this ever since we had things like Rolodexes and used to have to go around and put push pins and flyers on bulletin boards. So marketing has been at the core of what I've done for a long time. And one of the things that I particularly love about this particular topic is helping people sort of unlock what their code is for their marketing. And I know that all the people that you're going to be hearing from today can help you with a little. So there's going to be, if you want to take notes, there's kernels and things that you can do. But what really excites me is being able to be part of this shift away from not you marketing to really authentic you marketing. And so that's part of what I do in my consultancy. Is really, I work a lot with people who are my age and older, and believe it or not, there are actually people who are older than I am. But that's all so that we can continue to really be about the important work about. It's never been more important that we learn how to be our authentic selves and how to market authentically than now. So that's my speech.
Thank you. And Gary, why this topic specifically is important to you, and just a little bit about you.
It was funny. I started building websites for clients back in '99. That's 1999, and
not 1899.
No. But I started building websites back then, and back then, when I first started, just having a website was enough. You would get showing up, and then about 5, maybe 6 years later, it started to get tougher. And then about 10 years later, it started to get even tougher, and 10 years later was about 20 years ago, roughly. But so now I find marketing probably one of the most important things for businesses that have a website and have a business online, because if they're not doing all of the things they need to do, not just some, because it's SEO, which I do, is just one really small piece of the puzzle.
Yeah.
What Victoria does is a whole thing that you need to be doing. Just there's a lot of pieces to things. And so when people say, well, what are you going to do to get my website, happening? I don't even know where to start, to be honest with you. I can't say, oh, well, you need to. Usually, and my passion mostly is that when I visit somebody's website, I need to understand what their business is all about and what they do within just a few seconds.
Mm-hmm.
If I can't see it within a few seconds, doesn't matter if I get you showing up on Google or wherever. It doesn't matter because people are going to come and they're going to go, oh, okay, I have no idea what they do, and they're going to leave. So it really, to me, it all starts with your presence on the web, whether it be a Go Brunch page, whether it be a lead landing magnet page, or whatever it ends up being. I see people even in Go Brunch where they have a page.
And Gary, I'm going to pause you here and let Victoria introduce herself and why this topic is important to her, and then I'll get to the first question.
Okay.
Mhm.
Thanks. Hi, everybody. I'm Victoria Carrington Chavez, and you might know me from the Story Saloon as well as the Marketing Bandita. And how that came about is because I help people unlock the power of their stories so that they can show up on stages and spaces as the main character that they were born to be. Now, why is that important? It's because when you are memorable, people will buy from you, especially in this day and age when there's so much noise out there. Daily put it, in a way that a lot of energy healers sometimes might not make it. But when we are talking about ourselves and our business and we stay top of mind, we can continue to expand our network. And I came up with the Marketing Bandita, and actually it's really cool because Go Brunch here is where that name really took off, because I don't believe in bro marketing. Bro marketing is essentially code for manipulative marketing. Almost every single person that I work with in marketing tells me they hate marketing. And it's truly not marketing that they hate. It is manipulation. It is because they're wanting to be authentic. They want to be real. And storytelling is a way that you can be authentic. You can talk about what you do, who you do it for, and how you do it in a way that connects and in a way that doesn't feel manipulative or like you're taking advantage of people. And in that very nature, that's a conversation. Conversations are marketing. And to this topic, I have found that the best marketing ever is relationship building, which is why connection is the strategy.
Thank you. And so whoever wants to go first, will either make about 90 seconds to kind of share their thoughts and build off of each other. You're all marketers, so I know that you know how to tell a story. So just work on the Twitter version of it. Marketing is often treated like a megaphone, not modern Twitter, by the way, like just the general character limit. But marketing is more than a megaphone, right? It's also a mirror, or it can be, of your values and the needs of your audience. How would you speak to that? Go for it, Jamie.
Let's start with some of the things that Victoria said. I think you start by avoiding not you tactics. And three of the big ones that you want to start avoiding are manipulation, artificial scarcity, and hard sells that require you to be somebody that you're not, right? Mm-hmm. And so oftentimes what you'll see in marketing messages, you heard Victoria use the term bro marketing. You may hear a lot of us on the space use that, but you want to start thinking about, look, no one ever said, this is my friend Victoria, I met her through a sales funnel, right? So we have to be careful about how we use our language, right? So right now, we want to be able to use the appropriate sort of language in whatever stream we want to show up in. If you don't want to be on LinkedIn, don't be on LinkedIn. The tactic is not about following somebody else's bro marketing formula to what works. Everything works, but you have to come back to what this idea is. Does it work for you? Does that tactic, does that strategy, does that approach resonate with who you are as an individual, right? So the other thing I'm going to toss in here real quick, because my 90 seconds is almost up, is you always want to focus about the value exchange in marketing. Stop using things about direct selling. Think about the value that you're providing and the contribution that you want to receive. Those are some, and we can explore these things later, but that's my 90-second speech.
Thank you. Who wants to go next?
Aisla, can you please repeat the question?
Yes. Marketing is treated like a megaphone, but what does it look like when marketing becomes a mirror and reflects your values and your audience's needs?
Okay, I guess I'll go next. In short, so kind of what Jamie is saying, yes, if you don't want to be on LinkedIn, don't be on LinkedIn, but also recognize where is the person you want to work with. and kind of find the middle ground. So, quick story, because I have 90 seconds. I got really good at making TikToks because my target audience was 8th grade Spanish students in a pandemic. I learned how to make those short form content because that is what resonated, connected with them. Knowing who you want to work with and how to talk to them is key of marketing, and making it authentic in a way that's real, because I would be silly in the TikToks because I'm apparently funny. I don't know where that comes from. That's kind of how you bridge the between the two. So find out where your audience is and hang out with them.
It's true, right? Gary, do you want to chime in?
Yeah, I hate to say it, but what Jamie and Victoria said is really just, I'd have to just totally agree with that. I don't have anything else to add.
That's allowed. Daily.
Yeah, I want to take just like 10 seconds of this 90 seconds to really invite everyone who's in the audience to share. Like, I want to see the names of your businesses and like what you're doing, right? And if you have specific questions about marketing, to put those too. I think it'd be awesome for us to just see that as a panel, because marketing really is like, we think of marketing as like, okay, I'm over here, come. But the reality is, it's just you and your people you may not have even met yet, right? And how do you connect with them? So in the first year of my business, that was really, really challenging. And I created something called my internal care program. I had to name it to remind myself to like really just think about people one-on-one, to think about what my future clients needed, and then to speak from my heart through whatever medium I could to do that. And ultimately, I just followed the medium that I loved the most. And that's what I encourage you to do. Like, don't do all the things, just do one thing. One thing. Start with one way of reaching people and stick with it for a year if you can. Just dial into it, make it personal.
I apologize. I am responsible for the leaf blower. And I do want to say, please do share your stories. You don't have to be just 90 seconds, but just being aware that you're all good storytellers, and I want to make sure that there's room for everybody to get a little bit into the weeds. But I want people also in the audience to get a chance to really experience what you have to offer. So you're here because people in this group really saw your expertise and your authority, and they wanted a chance for the rest of the community and people that haven't been here to really get a chance to connect to that. And I'm just here to try and support that as much as possible, while also keeping the leaf blower out of your ears. I apologize for that. So you talked about the bro marketing, and I think I really relate to what you're saying. I think a lot of people can relate to what you're saying, that we have this belief that marketing means manipulation, and then people say, I don't like marketing, but what they mean is they don't like manipulation. How do you build trust and credibility in your marketing? And if you can be specific or tell a story that illustrates this, would be really great, so that you can kind of show that connection between that authenticity, that trust and credibility that isn't that manipulation.
I think one of the ways that you can build trust is to not always think about being clever, right? Because there's this tendency, I was listening to some of the other people talking in some of the other panel discussions on this topic, but it kind of applies to marketing as well. We can get really into slogans and coming up with really clever sort of things that we can do, sort of, if you will, gotcha marketing techniques, where it's like, I'm going to come up with a really sexy offer, and this all looks really good, and it sings, and I'm well, isn't it fancy? But again, develop a relationship with people over a period of time. That hucksterism, if I can use that sort of word, is what people will remember. They will remember, how you made them feel. And if you make them feel transactional, if you make them feel like, there's this tendency to again think that I got into an argument with someone. Well, did I use the word argument? Yes, it did. It came out of my mouth. A discussion with this woman who wanted to tell me that marketing. I said, well, marketing for me is communication. She said, no, marketing is selling. And I said, that's because people have been using marketing in a way to sell you things. And that's what you believe about marketing. The rest of that conversation did not go well because I should not have said, I should not have questioned what she believed, but that's my error for another topic. So I also want people to think verbs. Think verbs that invite. You know, what Daly just did when we started with, she was inviting people to share their stories about or what they're doing. There's a verb there. That's the idea that I'm inviting you to share with me. You know, I want to hear from you in a marketing. You know, it's not like what I want to push at you. You know, you were using the megaphone earlier, Daily, but that whole idea of being able to be present with your customers, be present with your audience, and invite to listen, that communication, that's brilliant.
That is really great. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thinking about being authentic and what that means, and I get this a lot of social media is one of the biggest places that I am. You will find me there. And kind of going back to Daly's point of don't try to be on all the platforms, do one really well. And but people are like, what do I post? You post about you post about your life, your ups and your downs. A lot of times when we're crafting a story, we like to tell the victory stories, we like to tell the wins, but the losses, that like getting up the mountain, which is people don't like to share that, but that cringe content, as people say, is what makes us relatable. It's what makes us human. When we can laugh at ourselves, when we can be awkward, when we can be messy, when we can say, I don't actually know what I'm doing. I'm going to keep showing up. I'm going to keep trying. That connects to people. That's what makes you stand out. That's what makes you stand out from, the other term you hear a lot is a guru. Is a guru is like, I have all the answers. And none of us have all the answers. I mean, if you do, like, I have some questions for you. But realistically, we don't have all the answers. We're just showing up and trying to be better each day. And that's real. And people love those stories. So when you show up in that way, that's what makes connection. That's marketing. That invites conversations.
Yes, and invite conversations, invite connection. Way to say that. Daly, Gary, who wants to contribute?
I can jump in. Yeah, I think everybody's saying great things, and just said another way, I do feel like authenticity is actually a really big part of creating that trust and credibility. And authenticity can just mean really being who you are. Like if you're just going to fart up a room, like I think sometimes we try so hard to show up a certain way, or a lot of times as business owners, we think that marketing and branding means that we have to have specific colors and a style. And if we're into sophisticated, then we have to say things a certain way. But then we can get so caught up in that outward shell that we actually, even though we try to attract people, they may not even be our people. So really just being honest about the fact that you don't know everything in whatever your field is. Being honest about the fact that you may not have answers for the people coming to you about whatever you do. As silly as it seems, it helps people to realize, okay, this is a human and they're going to try their hardest. You can, I think, also create that trust and credibility by connecting with other trade organizations and joining those memberships for organizations, or even creating your own. I think a lot of healers, for example, forget that the Chamber of Commerce is for everyone. And like joining something like that allows you to not only meet other business owners and develop relationships that result in natural referrals, but when people see that you're a part of these organizations, they kind of go, oh, well, somebody knows them in this context, so they must be somewhat trustworthy. And it starts to create this aura of connection and credibility, frankly. So think of who you can join. Think of organizations you can join today.
Gary, what about you? You've been doing this for a long time. How do you build trust and credibility?
I don't go around saying fart up a room.
But it would make a heck of a T-shirt, which will
But
be on sale.
I love the slogan. I love the slogan. Everybody in the chat is saying,
Cringe.
they're all saying in the chat, did she say fart up the room?
Cringe.
And I'm like, yes, she did.
She did.
I don't know what it means, But anyhow, uh, yeah, I agree with everything that's being said as far as being authentic and being yourself and so forth. Um, when I'm working for a client trying to figure out how to market them, I usually go out, surf the net, whatever it is that I'm in, and I look for things that make me stop and look. And I look at what they did, what they said, how they did it. Usually it's a freaking cat video, but I look at what they're doing and I say, how can I replicate that type of thing that would intertwine with what my client's business does so that they can not copy it, but just emulate it, I guess, just in another way. So I'm always looking for because it's hard to stay on top of things and you don't want to just go with the new thing on the block just because it's a new thing on the block. But if it makes me stop and look at something and want to say, huh, like a lot of times they'll have a video up and the picture on it, and then you go into the video and go, oh, sometimes, and then we'll tell a client, hey, we need to do a video, something like this, and we can promote it like this. And I think it will mix with the audience. That's, a lot of what I usually look for is what stops me. Cause I'm the guy that's out there looking. I wish I had more people that were looking because they'd be able to tell me, hey, you should look at this too. But that's a big thing that I try to do is try to figure out and watch what other people are doing that I think is working for marketing purposes.
That's really smart. Being willing to be curious and seek that out it's hugely beneficial. And I'm going to pick on you to start this next one, Gary, because you already started down this path, which is that marketing is not just about getting attention. Like you said, when you have a few seconds to get someone's attention when they land on your website, there's also keeping it. So it sounded like you had some specific ideas, and this is for everyone, obviously, but I'm going to ask Gary to start. What is it that once you have their attention, those few seconds, how do you keep it? What makes them stick with you?
Well, I was looking at somebody's website the other day, and I was basically trying to help them massage their message on the home, on the top of the homepage. And I said, we need to describe really the pain that you solve. And then I wanted them to have for their business, I wanted them to have testimonials right next to it, reinforcing the fact that they are the right person to help solve that problem. So it's kind of like taking them down a funnel. You gotta think when the person comes to the website or comes to the Go Brunch Room or where they're looking at an ad, what's going to make them understand that you're going to be able to solve, because everybody's got a problem or an issue, whatever, and they're looking for a way to fix it. But then the next question is, are you the person that I want to contact? So they've got to believe you're the right person. So, and the best way to do that is with video testimonials, not just testimonials. I don't want to have to read them. I love it when people are talking. So she was going to then make her website and she was going to look for people to make testimonials of that type for her. That's all.
Can I build on what Gary was saying? To me, he just said something that's really important. Good marketing always begins with a question, which is, what do you need? Right. And the follow-up question that defines everything is, how can I help? Right. And if you can, identify that need and, however it approaches. I know a lot of the people in this audience are do personal services and other type of coaching type work. I worked with a client who did a closed-in event where he had just space for 60 people in the room, but he had this opportunity to be able to open up his event he had this feedback from all the people who couldn't make it to Phoenix for his event, right? They all wanted to participate. And so his marketing was really good within what he was doing. And so he said, I want to be able to help these people, but I also don't want to be able to do too much to, add on to my event, because he was really focused on what he did. He opened up, and I was just like, well, this is kind of nuts, but go ahead, keep talking. He decided to take Signal and do his entire program available in a group chat through Signal. He sold 200 of those tickets at $97 a piece, and really created this really high level engagement using something that was within his bandwidth. So he carried his phone around with him. And if you follow Victoria in the Story Saloon, she'll tell you one of the most powerful things that you can do when you're marketing is to do behind the scenes stories. You don't have to come up with content when you're just thinking about behind the scenes. He took that phone and filmed himself opening up the box of textbooks that they were going to be giving out and walking through the hotel space, so that the people who couldn't be there in person had this person going, well, gosh, if you were here, this is what I would be doing with you, right? And so he took something simple, which was, these people needed to have access to their event, right? And he could say, well, how can I help? I don't have time to it, but I carry my phone around with me all the time. You know what I mean? Why don't I just take people on it and see what happens? That was an extra $20,000 that he put into his pocket with virtually no setup fee, no marketing, because he just let people in who were saying, well, wait, I need to be able to have a way to get to your event. Can you help me get in? So think about those strategies when you're doing your next program.
Victoria,
I can jump in. Yeah. I feel like this is really good stuff. And for me, I would even scale back a step further and say, like, for keeping attention, there's this degree of like really understanding who it is that you're working with, and who you're seeking. Kind of like how Victoria was saying, she really knew that her people were on TikTok. And so she was doing TikTok. Just a short story version of that. Like, when I first started my business, I would get a lot of phone calls from people because I was very good at search engine optimization for my website, and then getting my name out into the community. But people would call, and I felt like I was supposed to kind of just share with them this one thing I did. And so sometimes they'd come, but there was not really a dialogue happening. I couldn't hold attention. And then I started to realize, like, it would be just easier for me to ask, what's happening in your world? And then listening to them, I then formulated what my offer was. And doing that again and again, I started to have consistent clients. And that actually helped inform me about the products and the services that I really wanted to be offering. So today, I understand that a lot of my student baseline, they actually love to read things late at night online. And if I do videos in a private group or I write blog entries, they'll read them. They'll read them every weekend religiously, and they'll send me messages like 3 or 4 months later, right? So because I know that it's actually worth it for me to feed that, and it keeps them coming back.
so that's very wise. Victoria, are you ready to have
Yeah.
this cherry on the top of the sundae?
I will do my best to be a cherry, but yes, essentially one of the most important things of communication is listening. And when you're able to really listen and know that you're going to get it wrong and then refine, because here's the thing is that your clients are wanting you to solve their problem, and they see you as somebody that has a solution. You have, and especially those of you who work in transformative spaces, any sort of like energy healing, spiritual spaces, you are taking them from a current state to a desired state. And they want to know how to get there, but they might not ask you that. When somebody comes and says, I have this problem, they might say something like, for me, I hear a lot of, I want to go viral. No. What a lot of times people are saying is that I want to be seen for being me. And that the more that you start to really listen, then you can refine your offer, and then you can mirror that message and you can say, Do you want to be seen for being you? And then that's what resonates. That's what connects. Because sometimes we might not know what the problem is, especially as a small business, but we know that there's one and they see you as the person who solved it. So the more that you listen, and a lot of times too in testimonials, a pro tip is take your testimonials and find what the common threads are. That's how you start to get what you do. I just sold out my main character energy cohort I sold out 2 cohorts in 2 weeks. I did not think that confidence was what people wanted or saw me as. That was not how I started. But after so many people said, I see your confidence, I see your confidence, I started making offers around that because that's how my audience sees me. Remember, the desired state, you are an embodiment of that because you have solved a problem and you get to be of service, like Jamie says, you get to help.
Thank you. This is amazing. You guys are fantastic. Appreciate you. I have one more question, and you're doing great, by the way, balancing time and sharing. So thank you all. I feel like I scared you at the beginning, so I appreciate being able to step back a minute. So you, can you think of a moment you were moved by someone's marketing, and what made it stick for you, and how did that influence you, if it did, and how you show up in your messaging?
Can you say that again? I didn't seem to capture most of it.
That's fine. It's late in the day. So think of a time when you were moved by someone's marketing, and one, what made it stick with you? And two, how did it, if it did, influence you in the messaging you do today?
I could answer this. Okay, there was this lady. So I was on Facebook, like, I don't know, that generation. So like I would go on Facebook a lot in the morning when going to pick up my kid. And there was this lady and she would do stories like just like lives, Facebook lives at 6 in the morning or sometimes 4 in the morning, like when I would be up as a mom and just listening like a lifeline. And her lives were always super, super real topics in business, like things that I would listen and go, oh, did she really say that? Like, no, And so it was kind of like that I felt like eating junk food when you know you really shouldn't be. And because of that experience, I found myself listening to her so much that I realized like, oh, she's made it effortless for me to take whatever thing she's about to hawk next.
Mm,
And it made me reflect for myself as a business owner. And I realized I wasn't getting in front of my people at all. I wasn't
mm,
reaching out and just even like calling and following up enough with people that I had seen and spent time with. Right. I was
mhm,
like, oh, I better market. But I actually wasn't just dropping into myself and my heart and my business and like just being super real. And
mm,
I knew in that moment, like I was not going to be her. I wasn't going to go on. At first I thought, oh, do I have to like do lives every morning at 9 a.m. in order to get my following going? And I realized that's not the answer. It's just that she figured out how to be right in front of me when I was available because she was thinking about who her audience was. Right. So it
mhm,
shifted just my relationship to marketing and this idea of like this beautiful little business, this world that I've kind of created and the people that I get to interact with and really just sitting and literally having tea regularly and pondering what are they doing? Like, where are they hanging out? What do they love? Like, how can I surprise my clients and future clients and treat them? And how can I actually make sure that I'm connecting with them consistently and regularly so they know I'm not a flash in the pan and they know they can trust me with the work that they want to do, you know? That's it.
that's great. Thank you.
That was great.
Yeah. I think the marketing, that authenticity when it's reflective. So I love Converse, we call them Chuck Taylors. And when Chuck Taylor started releasing themed ones that were like Dia Muertos themed, or like even I had Superman themed ones, I recognized like I immediately bought them. And so when I see brands that reflect culture, and Avante Daniels is somebody on LinkedIn you can follow that talks a lot about the power of culture. I have a designer, a native designer, B Yellowtail. I buy her things immediately. And because I see myself in that. And when people see themselves in your offer, they will buy. So it's the blend of that, but it's also being you, because those things are a part of that authenticity. It's much like we talked about earlier in the room building room. It's a bit of both. Like, we go into Peggy's house, we're not going to tell Peggy what kind of couch to have, but she is going to feed us, and it is good food.
It is really good food.
The question, Ollie had a question about who are marketing people that I follow. I will recommend following Chelsea Burns, the marketing psychologist, and Caitlin, who is the Why You Buy. Those are two that I follow for a lot of the psychology of marketing. Thanks.
Jamie, Gary?
Gary, did you want to go? Well, I want to build a little bit.
They're doing so good.
I hear you. I hear you. Well, let me just kind of build a little bit on what Victoria was saying. I am still kept marketing pieces that other people have done for that very reason that Victoria's. I realize that I like I said, I'm a Luddite from a different generation when people used to use direct mail and all sorts of other things, and I realize that it's harder to kind of keep a Facebook post or a social media thing. But again, going back to those marketing materials that made me feel a part of what was going on. In the old days, we used to just sometimes personalize. We put a little message on a postcard, direct mail piece, like, "Hey, Victoria, really can't wait to see you at the event." All of those invitation sort of things that you can do to, uh, kind of get that message across to people. Because to me, what keeps changing are the tools. So my word is use tools, not people. Don't use people. That's the whole idea, is that these are people that if you care about your customers. One of the things I love about Jill, I don't know if she's still in the room, but one of the things that oftentimes, and we'll get into this in community building, is your role as what type of marketer you are, what type of community builder are you. If you're a caretaker of your community, you don't want to send out messages to people that you don't want them to receive, right? Again, they don't come back from your value stream. So if you want to be a shepherd, where people who've made me feel like, wow, I really, just like Victoria said, I really want to be a part of this offer. I can't say no to it because it resonates with what I want to do. And when someone does that, really, like me, I would keep it. I put it. It's like, I want to remember how to do this the next time. So there's some wonderful little gems here if you look at them. But using tools and not people is a really good thing to remember.
Yeah. Gary, do you have any thoughts on marketing that stuck with you and how it shows up for you today?
I don't know specifically how to answer that, but the marketing efforts that I tend to implement towards my clients is just an involvement of, I'm always on the lookout for how can I help them? What did I see that could benefit them if I implemented it? I don't, like, a lot of times I'm looking for software that I can buy from, for a lifetime deal so that I can use it for my clients repeatedly over and over again and not have to worry about a cost. But they don't know and they don't care. I'm just looking to solve their problems. Like Victoria was saying and Daly was saying, it's just, they're saying such good stuff, but I'm just always, I spend too much time doing this. Rather than trying to find new clients, making sure my clients, are taken care of. I got one client, it's really tough. It's a cigar business. and he can't market traditionally
Yeah.
because they won't let him.
Right.
So I'm trying to figure out how can I help him, even though he's in a unique situation, you know? So
Mhm.
that's really it.
Well, and I'm going to say, Gary, I actually think, and I've heard this echoed in the other people on the panel and the other people on the panels today, which is that I don't think you spend too much time. I think you care about the people that you're working with. And that's what I hear over and over today from the presenters and the speakers. And what I hear frequently in this community is being really focused on how you can show up for other people. And really, that's over and over again. So some of the things today, that quick awareness in this authenticity, don't hate marketing, hate manipulation, avoid those not you tactics. Think about, is this marketing strategy good for you as a person? Can you do this seamlessly in a way that feels authentic? Don't always try to be clever. That's a great one. And really think about how people feel when they're engaging with your marketing. And think about, and then verbs that invite. And I think a couple of people talked about that invitation, the importance of that. And think about sharing all of it if you're a social media person, including the getting up the mountain. It's okay to show people that there were some times when this didn't make sense. They're not going to think less of you. Be honest about what you don't know. Join organizations, and not just so people can see you as a credibility person. That is a great one, but also see you have other people to talk to and problem solve when you're trying to do something like cigar marketing. There's probably somebody out there who's done it and has some ways they can support you or inspire you. Research, be curious, be humble, like that you don't know things, that other people have solutions. And those two questions that Jamie mentioned, what do you need and how can I help? What the need is like that problem that Claudio talked about, and that how can I help is what you specifically and uniquely can offer this person. And listening, I heard that over and over again. Listen, 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 do, and then refine. And take the people, you're here to take people from where they are to where they want to be, that current state to that desired state. And use the tools, but the people haven't changed. The other thing I heard you say, Jamie, is realize that we have all these new tools, but people are still people. And as long as you understand how to people, you're going to do great. Marketing doesn't have to be scary. Thank you so much. Thanks everybody for staying for this panel.
Aisla, you did a great job. Really did. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. That was
Oh,
fire.
wait. Also, you can see their rooms, 118 for Jamie, 125 for Gary, 124 for Daly, Victoria's 122. Please go talk to them, follow up with them, because they have lots more answers than they will ever be able to share in 45 minutes.
Yeah, I'll be in my room 124 for the next 15-20 minutes. So if anyone has very specific personal questions about your business that you would like to discuss from a marketing standpoint, you're welcome to go there and join me. I'll just share what I can.
High fives, everybody.
I feel like so emotional right now. I know that the Global Business Plaza is full of geniuses, and this whole day has just been beautiful. And all of these panels, and we're not done yet. In 1 hour, go visit with all of these people. Come back here in 1 hour, and that will be our last keynote and our last panel, and it will be about community building and why communities are important to businesses, and tie it all together. And I'm gonna go cry for the next hour, and happiness and joy. Like, I can't believe I was sitting down there and I'm like, I am surrounded by the most genius of geniuses, like for real. Like, you guys, this was wonderful. Please go. You've got an hour. Go talk to people. I'll see you in an hour back here.
Thanks. Keynote. Use the keynote. Woo-woo. I'm giving her shout outs. We gotta see y'all in.
This was fun, y'all. Thank you for stopping through. This is Joyce, aka Joyce's POS, aka Memoirs, and this was the World Building Expo. It is now going on strong. It was open, I think, 7 a.m. Pacific time, and they'll be running until about 8 p.m. Pacific, I think, somewhere around that. Sorry you missed it, but hey, we have this every quarter. The next one is in December. Should be lots of bells and whistles, beautiful scenery. Maybe you can join the booths and see what the other creators are doing. One day when I'm not too busy, I'm going to be actually sitting up here hosting my Go Brunch spot. But I just don't have the time, but I will. I will. Maybe you guys too can showcase your spot. This is marketing at its finest to me. But that's all I got. Thanks for listening. YouTube and Twitch. See you later. More to come.